Oh dear.
Your call, please.
Operator, I've been dialing Murray Hill 40098 now for the last three quarters of an hour, and the line is always busy, but I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
Mori Hill, 40098. One moment, please.
I don't see how I could be busy all the time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Mori Hill, 40098.
Hello.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, George.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Who's this? What number am I calling, please?
We have heard from our client. He says the coast is clear for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth.
Okay, you know the address. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are out. There should be one only light visible from the street. At 11:15 at the subway, train crosses the bridge. It makes noise in case her window is open and she should scream.
Oh, hello. What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand.
Make it quick, as little blood as possible. Our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
Knife, okay, sir.
Yes, a knife will be okay. And remember, remove rings and bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau drawer. Our client wishes it to look like simple robbery.
Okay, I get.
Oh, how awful! How unspeakably!
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry, madam. What number were you calling?
Why? It was supposed to be Murray Hill 40098, but it wasn't. Some wires must have crossed. I was cut into a wrong number, and I've just heard the most dreadful thing. A murder. And operator, you'll simply trace that call at once.
I beg your pardon, madam. I don't quite.
Oh, I know it was a wrong number, and I had no business listening. But these two men, they are cold-blooded fiends. Some poor innocent woman who was all alone in the house near a bridge. And we've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, madam?
That doesn't matter. This was a wrong number, and you dialed it, and we've got to find out what it was immediately.
But, madam,
Oh, why are you so stupid? Look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 40098 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped, and I was connected with some other number, and I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now I simply fail to see why you couldn't make that same mistake again on purpose. Why you couldn't try to dial Murray Hill 40098 in the same careless sort of way.
40098. I will try to get it for you, madam.
Thank you.
I am sorry. Mori Hill 40098 is busy.
Operator! Operator! You didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked explicitly, and you all did was dial correctly.
I am sorry. What number were you calling?
Can you for once forget what number I was calling and do something specific? Now I want to trace that call. It's my civic duty. It's your civic duty. No, trace that call and to apprehend those dangerous killers, and if you won't,
I will connect you with the chief operator.
please!
This is the chief operator.
Hello, is this Black?
This is the chief operator.
Chief operator, I want to trace a call, a telephone call immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down because it was about murder. Yes, a terrible murder, cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Can you trace it for me? Can you track down those men?
It depends, madam.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can't.
Disconnected?
If the party stop talking to each other.
Oh, but of course they must have stopped talking to each other by now. That was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
Well, I can try tracing it. Now, what's your name, madam?
Mrs. Stevenson, Mrs. Albert Stevenson. But listen,
And your telephone number?
Plaza 42295, but if you go on wasting all this time.
And what is your reason for wanting this call traced?
My reason? Well, for heaven's sake, isn't it obvious? I overheard two men, they're killers. They're planning to murder this woman. It's matter for the police.
Have you told the police?
No, how could I?
You're making this check into our private call purely as a private individual?
Yes, but meanwhile,
Well, Mrs. Stevenson, I seriously doubt whether we could make this check for you at this time just on your say-so. As a private individual, we'd have to have something more official.
oh, for heaven's sake, you mean to tell me I can't report a murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? That is perfectly idiotic. All right, then I will call the police. Ridiculous.
Your call, please.
The police department, please.
Raining the police department.
Police Department, Precinct 43, Duffy speaking.
Police department? Oh, this is Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Smith Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling to report a murder.
Eh?
I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet. I just overheard plans for it over the telephone. Over wrong number that the operator gave me. I've been trying to trace down the call myself, but everybody is so stupid. And I guess in the end you're the only people who could do anything.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans decently. Two men were talking and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on a Second Avenue. And there was some third man. A client was paying to have his poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelet and use a knife. Well, it's angered me dreadfully, and I'm not well.
I see. When was all this, ma'am?
About 8 minutes ago. Oh, then you can do something. You do understand?
And what is your name, ma'am?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge, the Queenborough Bridge. You know, we have a private patrolman on our street and 2nd Avenue.
And what was that number you were calling?
Murray Hill 40098, but that wasn't the number I overheard. Murray Hill 40098 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I was trying to reach him to ask him to come home. I'm invalid, you know, and it's maid's night off, and I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson, and see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they couldn't check the call if the parties had to stop talking. I've taken care of that.
Oh, yes?
Personally, I feel you ought to do something for more immediately and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they stop talking? By the time you track it down, they already have committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it, lady. Don't worry. I'd say the whole thing calls for a search. A complete and true search of the whole city. I'm very near a bridge and I am not far from 2nd Avenue. And I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent a radio car to this neighborhood at once. And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighbor, ma'am?
Oh, I don't know. This coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the patrolman, the bridge.
Second Avenue is a long street, ma'am. And do you happen to know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone? Not to mention Brooklyn, State Island, Queens, and the Bronx. And how do you know there isn't some little house on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you've never heard about? How do you know they were even talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call on the New York dialing system.
How do you know it wasn't a long distance call you ever heard? Telephones are a fine thing. Look, lady, why don't you look at it this way? Supposing you hadn't broken in on that telephone call, supposing you'd got your husband the way you always do, would this murder have made any difference to you then?
I suppose not, but it's so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
A lot of murders are committed in the city every day. Ma'am, if we could do something to stop them, we could. But a clue of this kind that's so vague isn't much more use to us than no clue at all.
But surely,
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call is phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
me? Oh no, I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? I am all alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid Eloise. She's a big 200-pounder. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray. And the only person is my husband Albert. He's crazy about me, adores me, waits on me hand and foot. He scarcely left my side since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well then, there's nothing for you to worry about, is there? And now, if you'll just leave the rest of us,
But what will you do? It's so late. It's nearly 11 o'clock.
we'll take care of it, lady.
Will you broadcast it all over the city and send out squads and warn your radio cars to watch out, especially in suspicious neighborhoods like mine?
Lady, I said we'd take care of it. Just now, I've got a couple of matters here on my desk that requires my immediate.
Oh, idiot! Now, why did I do that? Now he'll think I am a fool. Oh, why does Albert come home? Why doesn't he?
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Murray Hill 40098 again? I can't think what's keeping him so long.
Ringing Maury Hill 40098. The line is busy. Shall I?
I can't hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. If I could only get out of this bed for a little while, if I could get a breath of a fresh air, or just lean out of the window and see on the streets. Hello, Albert. Hello? 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 Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? Hello?
Your call, please.
Hello, operator. I don't know what's the matter with this phone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now look, I'm invalid and I'm very nervous and I'm not supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps on much longer,
What seems to be the problem, madam?
well, everything's wrong. The whole world could be murdered. For all you people care, and now my phone keeps ringing.
Yes, madam.
ringing and ringing and ringing every 5 seconds or so. And when I pick up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry, madam. If you will hang up, I will test it for you.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put through that call, whatever it is, at once.
I am afraid that is not possible, madam.
Not possible? And why, may I ask?
The system is automatic, madam. If someone is trying to dial your number, there is no way to check whether the call is coming through the system or not, unless the person who is trying to reach your complains to his particular operator.
Well, of all the stupid, complicated, and meanwhile I've got to sit here in my bed, suffering every time that phone rings, imagining everything.
I will try to check it for you, madam.
Check it! Check it! That's all anybody can do. Of all the stupid, idiotic. Oh, what's the use? Hello? Hello? Stop ringing. Do you hear me? Answer me. What do you want? Do you realize you're driving me crazy?
Hello. Is this Plaza 42295?
Yes, yes, this is Plaza 42295.
This is Western Union. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
I am Mrs. Stevenson.
The telegram is as follows. Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 53 North Sutton Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry. Tried to get you for the last hour, but line busy. Leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight on urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy. Love, signed, Albert.
Oh no!
That is all, madam. Do you wish us to deliver a copy of the message? No, no, no. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Good night. Teet, teet, teet.
Good night. No, no, isn't true. He couldn't do it. Now when he knows I'll be all alone. It's some trick, some fetish.
Your call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 40098 number for me just once more, please.
Ringing Murray Hill 40098.
He's gone. Oh, Albert, how could you? How could you? But I can be alone tonight. I can't. If I'm alone one more second, I don't care what he says or what his expense is. I'm sick woman. I'm entitled.
This is information.
I want the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Hanchley Hospital? Do you have the address, madam?
No, it's somewhere in the 70s, Joe. It's a very small, private, and exclusive hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Henchley. Henc.
One moment, please.
Please hurry. And please, what is the time?
I do not know, madam. You may find out on the time by dialing Meridian 71212.
Oh, for heaven's sake, couldn't you?
The number of Hanchley Hospital is Butterfield 70105. Madam,
Butterfield 70105.
Middle age is solid for vertical. Hersey Hospital, good evening. Middle age is solid for vertical. Hersey Hospital, good evening.
Nurses Registry.
Who was it you wished to speak to, please?
I want the nurses registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire here immediately for the night.
I see in what is the nature of the case, madam.
Nerves. I'm very nervous. I need soothing and companionship. My husband is away and I'm...
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
No, but I really don't see why all this catechizing is too necessary. I want a trained nurse. I was patient in your hospital 2 years ago, and after all, I do expect to pay this person.
we quite understand that, madam, but registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people only on cases where the physician in charge feels it is absolutely necessary.
Well, it's absolutely necessary. I am a sick woman. I am very upset, very. I'm alone in this house, and I'm invalid, and tonight I overheard a telephone conversation that upset me dreadfully about a murder. A poor woman who was going to be murdered at 11:15 tonight. In fact, if someone doesn't come at once, I'm afraid I'll go out of my mind.
I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips soon as she comes in. And what is your name, madam?
Miss Phillips. And when do you expect her in?
I really don't know, madam. She went out of the sofa the 11th o'clock.
11 o'clock, but it's not 11 yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
Just 14 minutes past 11.
What's that?
What was what, madam?
There is someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen. And they're listening to me now.
I did hear it, madam. Now about this.
Your call, please.
There is someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen. And they're listening to me now. I won't pick it up. I won't let them hear me. I'll be quiet and they'll think. But if I don't call someone now, well, they're still downstairs. There'll be no time. Operator,
Your call, please.
operator, I'm in a desperate trouble.
I can't hear you, madam. Please speak louder.
Don't dare. There's someone listening. Can you hear me now?
Your call, please. What number are you calling, madam?
You've got to hear me. Oh, please. You've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone was going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with it. Oh, there it is. He's put it down. He's put it on the extension. He's coming. He's coming upstairs. Give me the police department. The police.
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Precinct 43, Duffy speaking. Police Department, Duffy speaking.
Sorry, wrong number.